Thousands of years ago, a priest in the Yajur Veda scripture recited a prayer that has become one of the most famous in the Hindu tradition. It is commonly recited to celebrate Diwali. The priest prayed, "Lead us from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality." In Sanskrit, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead us from untruth to truth. Every historical era has its untruths from which some seek to be free. Untruths are dangerous and consequential. The Yajur Veda prayer, therefore, is a universal one, reminding us of the necessity to be vigilant and to challenge the alarming untruths in our own time that cause suffering. Although we can only speculate about the untruths that troubled this priest in the time of the Yajur Veda, the untruths of our time are not in doubt. Today, untruths imperil our very survival. Diwali celebrates the triumph of truth over untruth. But this triumph is sometimes uncertain and cannot be taken for granted. We cannot afford to be passive, and this is not a prayer that exempts us from responsibility. Social media has become an unfettered global vehicle for the dissemination of untruths. A revealing study undertaken by researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and published in the journal Science showed that untruths on Twitter not only reached more people than truths, but also diffused faster than the truth. According to these researchers, untruths were more novel than truths, and people were more likely to share such material. When untruths spread faster, further, and deeper than truths, the longing to be led from untruth to truth is urgent and imperative. May we be led from untruth to truth on social media. The untruths that imperil us are too many to enumerate. Untruths about COVID-19 vaccines threaten the success of vaccination programs in places where the needs are greatest. Sadly, many of these untruths are perpetuated by religious leaders who wield trust and moral authority. These assets are deployed to discourage congregations to get vaccinated, unnecessarily opposing the truths of science with religious teachings. The consequences are death and suffering. May we be led from untruth to truth about vaccines. Untruths about climate change endanger the sustainability of our planet as a home for us all. The biophysical processes necessary to maintaining the vitality of our planet continue to be compromised by human activity, yet untruths persist. Sadly, one survey polling respondents in 23 countries found the United States to be the largest center of climate science denial in the Western world. Politically untruths in the United States about an election that was lost and the violent storming of the Capitol to overturn the results continue to be disseminated. May we be led from untruth to truth about climate change and political interests that thrive on falsehood. But lead us from untruth to truth is far more challenging than these 6 words suggest. In the sacred teachings of the Hindu tradition, truth is more than a cold empirical fact. Truth is always listed with a series of accompanying virtues. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, for example, truth is commended along with the obligation to not cause suffering, to be generous, to practice self-control, and to be free from greed. In various verses of the Bhagavad Gita, truth is listed with wisdom, forgiveness, courage, and compassion for all beings. In a commencement address in the same Yajurveda, a teacher implores his students to speak the truth, but to also practice virtue. Truth, in other words, is a challenging moral value that requires moral transformation, personally and structurally. Too often, truth is ignored or rejected, not always because of disagreements about truth as fact, but because of interests that take precedence over the moral requirements of truth. We see this in the case of climate change. Energy companies earn profits estimated to be almost 100 billion and pay nothing for pollution and environmental degradation. Profits are used to lobby politicians for legislation favorable to their economic interests. Greed, not fact, is the moral challenge. As individuals, we are often unwilling to change our lifestyles, to consume less, and to be mindful of the impact of our daily choices on our planet and on other living beings. We are addicted to a culture and habits of consumerism that offer us transitory pleasure, but no enduring contentment. May we be led from untruth to truth of our unwillingness to change for the sake of our planet. The truth spoken of in the Yajurveda is a commitment to a way of being. At the heart of this commitment is the overturning and overcoming of self-centeredness and the opening of our hearts and minds to the light, Jyoti, of compassionate care for all beings. It is learning to identify with those who suffer and working to reduce suffering in our world. It is a commitment to one's own well-being and the well-being of others. It is caring for the planet and for all beings who are nurtured and sustained by its gifts and its beauty. It is the understanding that the way of compassion and generous self-giving is the enduring path to human happiness. Truth matters. On this Diwali day, may we all awaken to this truth and to freedom from untruth. A happy Diwali to you and to your families.